Okay, today these are your notes for 2.3.2 with the essential question, how can I use 2 points to write a linear equation? So this is different than last block because last block I gave you your slope and a point. Okay, so we've actually got one additional step now. And remember that whenever you write an equation, it's in the form y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. Okay? So the first thing that you want to do is choose any 2 points to use to find the slope. So remember that slope is rise over run, or delta y over delta x. So when I say any 2 points, this entire table contains points on a line. So it doesn't matter which ones you choose. So why don't I choose -8, -14, and 29.97. Okay, so slope is rise over run. So you got to connect your y's, which are the second numbers, and your x's, which are the first. And because these are big numbers, I'm going to use my calculator. So in my calculator, I'm doing -14 minus 97. And I get -111. So that's my rise. The next one is -8 minus 29, -37. And so that's my run. So remember that slope is just a division problem. So -111 divided by -37 is 3, which is a lot nicer number than that ugly fraction. So now I have my slope, which is actually half of your equation. Okay, so the second step that you're going to do is use any point and the slope to find the y-intercept. And you could count forwards or backwards to find where the y value when x is 0. But it might be a little bit faster to do it algebraically. So I'm going to choose a different point just for fun. I could use -8, -14, or 29.97. I'm going to choose 1864. Okay, so my point is 1864, which means that the x is 18 and the y is 64. So when I write out my equation, I'm going to plug in the numbers where they go. So the y value is 64. The slope, the m, is 3. And the x value is 18. So you can take a second now, grab your highlighters, and highlight where the slope is, where the x values are, and where the y values are. So this should look familiar because we did this last block. And it's just kind of helping us figure out, well, when we look back at our notes, where did those numbers come from? Okay. So now that we've plugged in the numbers, we can simplify. So the first thing you want to do is multiply, right? Because when two numbers touch, that means multiplication. So 64 is going to equal 3 times 18, which is 54. And then the next thing that you want to do is subtract to get your b variable by itself. So in this case, I'm going to subtract 54 from both sides. And I find out that 64 minus 54 is 10. And so that's my b value, which is really the y-intercept, right? So remember, the whole point of this was to get an equation, right? So first we found the slope, then we found the y-intercept. So now let's put it together. So your final equation y equals 3 times x plus